website, helpinggetvictory.org.
A voice of rescue with a word to rescue for your training and overcoming, entitled Trained, Not Troubled.
This is message number 21 of the 400 series, His Power, Our Balance. The NLV translation of Romans 5, verses 1 through 4 reads, "Now that we have been made right with God by putting our trust in Him, we have peace with Him. It is because of what our Lord Jesus did for us. By putting our trust in Him, He has given us His loving favor and has received us. We are happy for the hope we have of sharing the shining greatness of God. We are glad for our troubles. Also, we know that troubles help us learn not to give up. When we have learned not to give up, it shows that we have stood the test. When we have stood the test, it gives us hope. So our faith has the power to make us right in God's sight, so that we then receive the right to God's grace. As recipients of God's grace, we then experience joy in looking up to God and not down at our troubles, because God lifts our head and He restores our courage. He refills our courage. And so rejoicing is then rerouting our attention and consideration to the strength of God that gives us the power to be strong. Therefore, God's power then makes us valid and able so that we can be of service, to continue in our service, to continue in our walk with God. The Phillips translation also reads that we can be full of joy here and now, even in our trials and troubles. Taken in the right spirit, these very things will give us patient endurance. This, in turn, will develop a mature character. When we have learned not to give up, once again, it shows we have stood the test. So there you hear the word stood, and you keep hearing the word stand. So when our spiritual confidence develops into the mature character to have the faith to stand in God's promises, they are working together, because where there is faith, there is obedience. And where there is obedience, there is trust. And where there is trust, it proves that we believe in God. And when we believe in God, there is hope. Hope where it all starts. This is why hope is the beginning of our spiritual confidence, the foundation of our faith, and why each level gives us hope, reignites our hope, refuels our hope. So we can glory in our troubles and take them in the right spirit when we understand that trouble is evil, but God will use it to benefit our life. Therefore, we should not look at trouble for the evil it is, but for its usefulness, its profit, its gain, and its assistance. Yeah, how it'll be used to accomplish the plan of God in our life. Why? Because it may be employed by Satan, the evil one, to kill, steal, and destroy us. But God steps in with his great power, and he has the final say, and it to help us, not hurt us. Our text informed us that trouble produces patience. And if you've heard my series, Patience Precedes Promise, you learned that patience is also our endurance. So trouble becomes our endurance training. Woo! The process to produce, develop, and refine the strength of our character. Endurance training then comes to enable us, not to disable us, to empower us, not to shut us down. Or should I say, it may come to destroy us, but God allows us to enable. He allows it to enable us, not to disable us. To empower us, not to shut us down. This is why if we see trouble as bigger than God, we've allowed the trouble to pain us, not train us. When we push trouble away and don't allow God to get the glory and to finish the story, we failed our test of endurance. So like Abraham, we must become confident that God has all the power that we need. And he also possesses the power to fulfill his promises and make us useful in service to the body. And so we must detach from this thinking like the world and function in hope so that we can use up our faith. Because when we change the value that we connect to experiencing trouble, it reveals our trust in God for his outcome. Coming up next in this TNT series, for more on being trained to overcome and win in spite of the trouble, GNT translation of Philippians 4 verse 13 reads,
A voice of rescue, training, overcoming Thank you for listening to this message. We pray that it was a blessing. Now, if you're not a subscriber, think about hitting that like button. Then smash that subscribe button to be the first to hear our messages when they appear. Also visit our website, helpinggetvictory.org, to learn more about how victory starts with Jesus living in your heart.